an example you have?
Um, I think of Rey Mysterio when I think of just the most positive masculinity ever.
Hmm.
Anytime that man has a microphone in front of him, he is thanking Angie for the support that she's given him throughout this career. They're like one of my favorite wrestling couples ever. Like I just adore the hell out of them and like their kids. It's so funny seeing Dominic Mysterio as a heel, because you can just tell he's got a heart of gold, and their daughter as well. It's just like the sweetest, most loving family that like it's beautiful. I have always been a big Rey Mysterio fan, and I'm obviously a big Dominic Mysterio fan, but yeah, anytime like his Hall of Fame speech thanking Angie and like countless interviews that I've watched with Ray where he's talking about how she would send him money while wrestling just to support him, and they would live well below their means doing anything they could just to kind of push his career, and how she's just been a nonstop supporter, and like he's always the first to shout at his wife, and I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Um, and Rey Mysterio was also on my list because of everything you mentioned. And also, before Dominic was a heel, the relationship that he and Dominic had on screen, you don't see a lot. You don't see a lot of healthy father-son relationships portrayed in wrestling in general. I mean, you think of like Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon, and I don't think that's very healthy, behind the scenes either, but certainly not on screen. So it was a breath of fresh air to see like a loving father son duo. And I kind of love too that like it took a lot for Ray to finally be like, fine, we'll do this Captain Crunch match and or not Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch match.
Yeah.
And um even then, like it was because he had the gall to, go after his mom or, well, Ray's wife, Angie. And it's just like, nope, you've crossed the line now, buddy.
Yes. I love how they built that whole thing up.
Hmm. Yeah. But yeah, Rey Mysterio is very like I feel like he's also, I mean, obviously Dominic got involved in wrestling very young.
Yeah.
Um, and he tells this story about how like when he was a kid, the teachers actually pulled him aside to see if he was okay because they thought it was and he was completely fine. He thought it was weird that they thought it was real.
Yeah. And how Ray was checking in with him every step of the way to make sure he was okay. Like even
Yeah.
back then in a time where you and I could go back and forth about parenting during the 90s, but just seeing him as just like an outstanding parent, like even then, and in the early 2000s.
Yeah, yeah, making sure that his kid was on board the entire step of the way. It wasn't like an exploitative thing. Um,
Yes.
and I mean, it's turned out really well now. I mean, it feeds into his career now. So it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, we'll give Deadbeat Dad Rey Mysterio a pass on this one.
Yes, yeah.